It smells so good too. You put that on my face.
Dun dun dun.
You picked the wrong grade.
Still look.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, there you go. That looks right.
Get my new teeth.
Don't see me eating a Tootsie Roll.
Thank you, Todd. Okay. You're driving down the highway, it's raining, and boom! Lightning strikes a tree next to the road that you're driving down. The strike was so close that it even shut your car off. Then it starts to hail, first the size of marbles, and then it gets bigger and bigger until the size of baseballs coming down. Windshield cracks, starts making spider webs across your windshield. And you feel the wind pushing the car from side to side. You hear what sounds like a train, but the wind and hail are so bad you can't see anything out your windows. And all of a sudden it stops just as quickly as it started. Congratulations, you just lived through a tornado. This was an experience I had while driving to Starkville in September of 1990. It changed the way that I viewed tornadoes. I knew that they were nothing to mess with, but an actual personal experience. Experiencing it firsthand, of course, was very humbling. And today I would like to share with you the effects of natural disasters on the local community. Natural disasters are something that affects everyone at some level, sometime in their life, and of course it affects some more than others. Some of the disasters in the area include tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, and drought. Other places in the United States and the world have volcanoes, avalanches, earthquakes, tidal waves, and brush fires. Compared to the rest of the world, some might think that we have smaller problems because the tornadoes, hurricanes, and floods in the area are not as damaging as some of the other disasters, but most local residents would disagree. The most recent disaster that happened in the area was on Thursday, October 18th of this year. The Commercial Dispatch reported a tornado that came through Starkville and destroyed some property at the country club. Then it passed through the Mississippi Horse Park, and the manager was quoted as saying, after it came across the country club, we saw all the horses run through the pasture, and we just stood in the doorway and watched it. The tornado was caught on camera by Allison Hennant of West Point. The Mississippi Horse Park was fortunate that it did not receive any damage, but the country club was not so lucky. In Mississippi, statistics show that from 1950 to 1995, there have been on average 24 tornadoes per year, an average of 8 deaths and 116 injuries. The yearly average of total damage is around $11.8 million. And now that I've told you about the cost of natural disasters, let me tell you about my personal experience with Hurricane Katrina. September of 2005, Hurricane Katrina ripped through the Bible Belt. The damage was almost unmeasurable. The storm was so bad that the federal government committed $85 billion to the relief fund for the affected areas. In the local area, we received damage when the storm came through. There were power outages, and homes were damaged due to the high winds, hail, and rain. There were other problems before Katrina made landfall. People that were evacuated from the coast filled the local shelters and were in need of assistance, and local resources were used in helping the evacuees. My brother Paul and his wife Tamitha were among those that came from the coast. They left their home and came to stay with us. The only items that they were able to save were what they could load into their car. They lost everything: their home, their clothes, their furniture, and all of their belongings. Paul was out of work for a month with no income, and they were fortunate to have some savings to fall back on. Paul and Tamitha relocated to Denver, Colorado with the help of the company that he worked for, and he chose to move to Denver instead of returning to the coast for fear of future hurricanes and floods. He has since made multiple attempts to file a claim for the damage in the amount of $30,000 with his insurance company, and to this day he has not been paid. And next we'll talk about the increase of natural disasters. Natural disasters are occurring more often every year, as noted by the United Nations Undersecretary General Jan Egeland in his report Living with Risk. Egeland also reports that man's impact on Earth is causing disasters to become more severe. And the book Natural Disasters by Reader's Digest notes that the greenhouse effect might be no bad thing. This would bring about wetter and warmer temperatures that would allow grain crops to be produced in areas such as Siberia or Canada. But the trade-off is said that global warming would produce famine and massive refugee problems because of low-lying areas would be flooded. Among other disasters, it's been noticed that wildfires have become hotter, more frequent, and more devastating over the past few decades. And from the information that I've gathered, it's plain to see that, yes, natural disasters affect local residents emotionally as well as physically. Natural disasters are increasing in frequency, and maybe it's just because more of them are being reported, but maybe it's how we treat the earth as well. And in closing, I'd like to leave you with a little ditty that I found from an anonymous author. Whether the weather be fair, or whether the weather be not, whether the weather be cold, or whether the weather be hot, we will all weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. Thank you.